I know I went to the theater for something last weekend. I remember seeing a short for Frozen, but then there was a movie afterwards and I don't remember anything about it. I know it has something to do with Disney princesses. Oh, that's right. It's Cinderella. Again. It's not like this is the first time Cinderella has been adapted to live action. This is just the first time Disney has done it, basing it a lot more off of their animated version. And as I showed in the intro to this video, it's very forgettable. They don't really do anything new. I mean, I guess they give a little bit more backstory to the stepsisters and the stepmother, but in trying to do that, they actually make them less impactful than in the animated film. And also, there are still scenes with the mice and other animals, though a lot shorter than the original. And it's very jarring to see a live-action actress talking to these little mice that are realistic looking. And they don't actually talk, they talk in this little gibberish type of thing. And also, the setting of this movie feels very confused. It seems almost like it's in the late 1800s, but then it's supposed to be in the 1600s. I mean, the original film also kind of had that confusion about the setting, but in this, it's just so much more apparent because it's live action. And for the first 2/3 of the movie, there really isn't any magic or anything, other than the talking mice that don't actually talk. And they're played down a lot more in this movie than they were in the original. Which for some people say that would be a good thing because some people don't really like the mice in the original Cinderella. But in this one, they're absolutely useless. I mean, I guess they make the dress like they do in the original, but it's really out of nowhere. Like it just kind of poofs into existence and you're supposed to expect that it's going to happen. And I think that's the main problem about this movie. It expects you to know what's happening because you already know the story and most people already do. But it's executed so poorly. I mean, there's all the familiar scenes there, like the dress being ripped apart, and then the fairy godmother coming in and making the pumpkin carriage, which that entire scene and the fact that it's live action feels really out of place. Not for the fact that it's in Cinderella, but for the rest of the movie, they're kind of in a serious type of tone, and then it goes to this and it goes all silly. At least in the original, you had a lot of silly tones with the mice. But in this, you don't really focus on the mice, you focus on Cinderella and her family passing away, since you see both her mother and father die within the first third of the movie. So you find out what happens to them and how she got into this situation with her stepmother. And it's like it's taking itself seriously, but at the same time it wants to be this fun family movie. And that was a big problem with Maleficent as well, since it was telling the tragic backstory of Maleficent and how she became evil, but at the same time having the fairies be complete idiots. And in this movie, you have Cinderella trying to deal with the fact that her family's gone, and being happy with what she has with the stepmother and the stepsister. But then you have her talking to the mice who speak this weird gibberish. It just makes her look insane. And it looks completely ridiculous in the movie. At least in Maleficent, you had her actually from this fairyland, even though it looked disgusting. In this, she's just talking to mice that live in the house. And I know I keep comparing it to the original, but the original and animated, it doesn't bother me because it's animated. And this is live action, and it's just weird. I mean, out of all the Disney movies to make live action, I think this would make the most sense. Although, it's also the most cliche, so I guess that makes a lot more sense. But it's so mediocre. And I'm baffled by the box office numbers for it. Is it just because of the title Disney's Cinderella? And not only that, I'm also baffled by the critics' response. Because right now it has about an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think. At least that's what it was when I checked the ratings after seeing it. And I'm just like, no, it's not that good. It's just Disney's Cinderella, but worse. They didn't try to completely change the story like they did with Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent, but the changes that they did make are so odd and head-scratching that you think, why did they do this? And it has me thinking, why are they making live-action films of their classic animated films? Next up is Dumbo. It's being directed by Tim Burton. I don't want to see that. And of all the Disney films to make live action, why Dumbo? That's mostly focused on the animals. I think the only humans in that are clowns. What's next, a live-action version of Bambi? I've never really been a big fan of Disney's live-action films. I know that you could now argue that Star Wars and Marvel movies are actually part of Disney's live-action films now, but no, I'm talking about the ones that they make themselves. Because the Pirates of the Caribbean has been run into the ground, I didn't like Alice in Wonderland, I didn't like Maleficent, and I definitely didn't like this. I don't think it's bad, but it's not good. I'm hoping that Tomorrowland is actually going to be decent. Here's to hoping that Disney can do sci-fi right. Ah, shit, I forgot. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Cinderella. If you saw it, and a lot of you probably have, tell me what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and thank you to my patrons this month. Your support really helps a lot, so thank you. And also thank you guys for being patient. I know this review is a bit later than I wanted it to be, but the important thing is that I actually got it out. There's a lot more videos that I want to put out that are kind of late, but hopefully I'll catch up this week, so thank you for sticking around. And you know the drill. Any of the annotations that look interesting to you, click them, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!